Hey, what's up everyone? GameDad here, coming at you guys with another compilation video, and this time we are taking a look at the 4-part series that I did for the Microsoft Xbox One. Now, I do not have a huge Xbox One collection, but there are a lot of fun titles in there. But first, if you are new to the channel or you simply haven't yet, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below, as well as that little notification bell so that you can alert every time I got a new video coming out. Now let's go ahead and dive in and check out the videos. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was released by Ubisoft Montreal in 2013, and this was actually the very first game I ever got for the Xbox One. So Christmas morning, it was there waiting for me. My wife had gotten me the day one Xbox One and Black Flag because she knew I was an Assassin's Creed fan, and honestly, this game was fantastic. And this was the last Assassin's Creed game where I actually went through and did everything, found it all. Up next is Assassin's Creed Unity, released by Ubisoft Toronto in 2014, and I was not really a fan of this one. It was pretty glitchy, the story was a little slow in my opinion, and yeah, there was some, like, cool team mechanics and stuff like that as you went through the story, but overall, I just didn't care for it, and I really didn't like the way they changed up controls in this one. And here we have Assassin's Creed Chronicles, released by Climax Studios in 2015, and this is actually 3 different games that cover China, India, and Russia, and as you can see, instead of being a full 3D open world, it's a 2.5D game. So everything is nice in 3D, really deep background, stuff like that, but it's a 2D side-scroller. And the last time I played one of these was on the DS, and it was terrible. But I gotta say, this one, it's actually a lot of fun. And here we have Assassin's Creed Syndicate, released by Ubisoft Quebec in 2015, and this one was pretty cool. I didn't mind this one. I really liked the whole Industrial Revolution vibe of it, but it was kind of weird having to constantly switch back and forth between the brother and sister, but it was still kind of neat to see a whole gangs of New York kind of thing, but in England. I mean, it was okay. And here we have Assassin's Creed Origins, released by Ubisoft in 2017, and this is one I'm actually currently playing through right now, and I gotta say, this game is fantastic. It's very good. There's almost too much to do, in my opinion. I will not be 100% completing this. I mean, the map in this game is massive, but it's really cool. I really like Egyptian history, things like that, but I'm really looking forward to the next game on this list. And here we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, released by Ubisoft Quebec in 2018, and this is the one that I'm really looking forward to play. I haven't actually gone through it yet. This is just kind of intro cinematics to the game, and didn't want to really spoil anything for myself, so I just did a little game capture for it, but I love Greek mythology, so I'm sure this game is going to be right up my alley. But yeah, this one will be getting a playthrough very soon. Up next, we have Battleborn, released by Gearbox Software in 2016, and this is one of those online only, just straight up multiplayer. I mean, it looks like every online multiplayer game, but I don't know, this game was glitching out really bad for me. I kept getting tons of frame drops, and it just wasn't that fun. It was a huge download, which felt like a huge waste of time. Up next is Battlefield 4, released by EA Digital Illusions CE in 2013, and this was a really fun Battlefield to play through. I only started with the series at Bad Company 2, and then I went through 3 and then 4, and I gotta say, this one was great. I mean, the physics were just amazing in the game. It had a pretty solid story. It wasn't mind-blowing or the best one I've ever played, but it was still a fantastic game. Here we have Battlefield 1, released by DICE in 2016, and this is another one I haven't had a chance to play yet, but I went through a little bit of the prologue to get footage for this video, and I was blown away. I mean, the graphics in this game are intense. I know there's a lot of controversy with different things and something about a female character or something like that. I don't really care about any of that. All I care is if a game is good or not, and from what I can tell, this is going to be a good one. And here we have Bioshock The Collection, released by Blind Squirrel Games in 2016, and this is a collection of Bioshock, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. Now, I never actually got around to playing Infinite, but I did go through 1 and 2, and they were great games, and this is an HD upscale of those games. The controls are essentially the same thing, and they're the same games, but with kind of a new reskinning on them. Here we have Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, released by Starbreeze Studios in 2015. And I gotta say, good game. It was short, but it was good, had pretty good graphics. The whole thing that this game is kind of known for is its twin stick control. And I don't mean that you use one stick to look and one stick to move. I mean each stick controls the other brother, and you have to solve puzzles with that. And I gotta say, it is weird to get used to. Up next is Call of Duty Ghosts, released by Infinity Ward in 2013. And while this one isn't graphically as nice as, of course, the new Modern Warfare or anything like that, I actually did like Ghosts. A lot of people kind of crapped on it and didn't care for the story or anything, but I thought that it was pretty good. Last up for this video is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, released by Sledgehammer Games in 2014. And this one I did not care for at all. It went way too futuristic, which in my opinion was kind of the downfall of the Black Ops series with Black Ops 3. They just got too far into the sci-fi, and the Call of Duty games were always about realism, and this just wasn't doing it for me. I didn't really care for the story, and yeah, not great in my opinion. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was released by Treyarch in 2018, and this went like way more into the future with the Black Ops franchise. It went super just advanced tech, things you can only dream of, and that's kind of what killed it for me. I didn't really care for that. I prefer the Call of Duty games that are set a little more realistic, which is probably why Modern Warfare 2 is one of my favorites. Next up, we have Diablo III Ultimate Evil Edition, released by Blizzard Entertainment in 2014, and this edition actually comes with the Reaper of Souls expansion. Now, this game is pretty much exactly the same as it was on PC, and that's what I originally got it on, because that's what I always played Diablo games on, was on PC. And there was a really good deal to get it on console, so I figured, what the heck, why not? And, I mean, it looks great, plays great, fun game. Up next, we have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, released by CyberConnect 2 in 2020. And this was praised very highly as a really good DBZ game. The fighting style, I don't know. I've never really cared for the fighting style in these games. If I want to play a fighting game, I'm going to play something like Mortal Kombat, the side-scrolling style. I don't really get the appeal of the 3D battle space, but, I mean, it was still cool. Looks pretty. And here we have Dragon Ball Xenoverse 15, released by Dimps in 2016. And this one was much more RPG-esque. Still had the same kind of battle mechanics and stuff like that as Kakarot. And this one was actually released long before Kakarot. But the game it's okay. It's not as good as other like JRPG kind of games that I've played. And overall, I mean, a lot of stuff is locked down in it, so Up next, we have Fallout 4, released by Bethesda Game Studios in 2015, and this one got crapped on a lot, but honestly, this is one of my favorite Fallout games. I mean, nothing beats Vegas, but this game was great, and I'm not really sure why people had a problem with it. I never really played online, maybe that's where the issues were, but overall, I had a blast playing this game, and I put a ton of time into it. And here we have Fallout 76, released by Bethesda Game Studios in 2018. Now, this is one I have not put a lot of time into, and that's because the stupid thing was always crashing. Now, recently, they did release the Wastelanders update that apparently has fixed pretty much every issue in the game. It's still glitchy in places, but all the stuff people had complaints about, I guess, were addressed, so I think I'm going to have to go back and give this one another chance. Here we have Gears of War Ultimate Edition, released by the Coalition in 2015, and this is a complete remaster of the original Gears of War, and it's awesome. I mean, the original Gears of War was a great game, but seeing it fully remastered and not just kind of, upscaled, it was pretty cool, and the gameplay just made it that much more fun. Here we have Gears of War 4, released by the Coalition in 2017, and this is a continuation of the franchise. Now, this one in particular, as you can see, this is just screen cap from the very beginning of the game, because I have not played this one yet, and I didn't want to get too far into the actual story, because I still have to finish 2 and 3. So, yeah, heard this one was awesome, just gotta work my way there. Up next is Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions, released by Lucid Games in 2014. And this game is a visual trip. It's a twin-stick shooter, but kind of puzzly in some aspects, where you have to go through all these little gates and stuff. But tons of neon colors, very techno style music, very upbeat, and I gotta say, it was actually a really fun game. Here we have Grand Theft Auto 5, released by Rockstar North in 2014. And yes, this game is 6 years old as of this video. And no, I still have not played it yet. Played the heck out of Grand Theft Auto 4, had a blast with it, and just never got into 5. There was just so many other games coming out at the time, and then it just got put on the back burner. But I think it's about time I went back and played this. I think it's been plenty of time. Up next is Guitar Hero Live, released by Freestyle Games in 2015. And honestly, if you played one Guitar Hero game, you played them all. It's essentially the same thing, except the whole shtick on this one was it was live and online, and you could share tracks and buy tracks and all kinds of stuff. And the game quickly became unsupported. Yeah, it's not that great a game. Up next is Halo 5 Guardians, released by 343 Industries in 2015. And this one is another one. I have not played it yet. I did finish Halo 4, and I got to get this one down, especially with Series X coming out and Halo Infinite. So, yeah, if this is a good game, let me know down in the comments below. I'm excited to play it. Last up for this video is Halo the Master Chief Collection, released by 343 Industries in 2014. And this game is the single largest game to install that I have in my Xbox One collection. It took forever. There is so much that it has to download for this game and install. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of games in it and all the updated textures and all that stuff. But yeah, big game, cool collection. And first up, we have Halo Wars 2, released by Creative Assembly in 2017. And the original Halo Wars, it was pretty fun, but it wasn't that big of a critical success, I would say. Halo Wars 2 did fix a lot of the things that weren't that great in the original one. But overall, I mean, if you like RTS games, you should like this one. Killer Instinct, released by Double Helix Games in 2014. So this one is a free-to-play game. I also did get the actual disc for it, and I don't know, this game just feels like it tries way too hard to be a relevant fighting game. It was kind of cool back in the day, and I mean, I guess the graphics look good and fighting is kind of fun, but overall, it just seems like the comical version of Mortal Kombat. Up next is Lego Marvel's Avengers, released by TT Games in 2016. And as with most Lego games, if you played one, you played them all. They just change up the stories. And this kind of follows the Avengers movie plot. They do throw some other little things in there, but overall, I mean, it's just a Lego game. You go around, smash stuff, collect studs, unlock characters, and make your way through the story. And here we have Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, released by TT Games in 2016. And yep, you guessed it. Another Lego game. Smash stuff, collect things, unlock characters, go through story of assigned game. And that's pretty much what this is. You're going through The Force Awakens, and you just collect stuff and complete a story. That's pretty much it. Here we have Mortal Kombat X, released by NetherRealm Studios in 2015. And this game was nuts when it came out. I mean, Mortal Kombat 9 was pretty cool. I didn't really care for it, didn't play it a lot. Mortal Kombat X took the brutality to a whole new level when they introduced like X-rays and stuff like that. And the game is just graphic and super fun. Loved this game. Up next is Overcooked, released by Ghost Town Games in 2016. And if you've ever wanted a really fun party multiplayer game, the Overcooked franchise has totally got you covered. It's super fun. It reminds me a lot of like Diner Dash and stuff like that, but with way better graphics, a very loose story, and 4-player action instead of single player. So, super fun game. Up next is Overwatch, released by Blizzard Entertainment in 2016. And pretty much everybody has heard of Overwatch by now, but I mean, it's a shooter just like anything else. It's multiplayer only. There isn't really any story or anything like that. And honestly, I don't really like playing this game because the community is super toxic. It's filled with nothing but people bashing you or just ultra competitive people, and it makes the game not fun, honestly. Up next, we have Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, released by PopCap Games in 2016. And this is definitely a departure from a normal Plants vs. Zombies game, which is top down, not really 3D or anything. This made PvZ into a total, like, third person shooter, and it's freaking awesome. The game is super fun. This original one was kind of buggy, 2 was better, but fun game. And here we have Project Spark, released by Team Dakota in 2014. And this is a game that allows you to create games. Think of like Super Mario Maker, but full 3D games and no support at all. So this is very hard to be able to find anything on as far as games to play, worlds to play, things like that, because it completely has no support at all. Up next is Quantum Break, released by Remedy Entertainment in 2016. And this didn't get very good reviews, but honestly, I loved this game. The graphics were amazing in it, and just the concept, the way that you control time and stuff in it, and how this game is super narrative driven. And I mean, it's really fun. If you haven't played it, definitely go pick up this game and give it a try. And here we have the Rare Replay, released by Rare in 2015. And this is a collection disc. And what that means is it's actually got 30 of the best Rare hits on it. So if you're thinking Banjo or Conker or Cameo, Battletoads, Perfect Dark, any of those games, this has them, and it's awesome. Up next is Red Dead Redemption 2, released by Rockstar Games in 2018, and unfortunately, this is another major title that I just didn't get to because there was other games I was playing at the time, but it is on the short list for me to be able to get this game played through and completed. I know it won't be a very quick playthrough, but you know what? I've heard amazing things about this game, so I am super excited. Here we have Resident Evil Revelations 2, released by Capcom in 2015, and I don't really understand the point of the Revelations games in the series. It seems like, I don't know, kind of a cash grab just to play on the Resident Evil name. It's not a mainline game or anything like that. It's just kind of like a side story, and I mean, it looks nice, and it definitely gives you that eerie feeling, but eh. And first up, we have Rise of the Tomb Raider, released by Crystal Dynamics in 2015. And I gotta be honest, this one was my favorite out of the trilogy. This game was absolutely fantastic, and I had a blast playing it. I went through and I collected everything that I could possibly find, and 100% of the campaign on this. Excellent game. Rise, Son of Rome was released by Crytek in 2014, and this was pretty much the showcase for the Xbox One and what it was capable of doing, and I gotta say, I was thoroughly impressed. It is a very graphic game, as you can see by this, but it was a very fun game as well. I wouldn't say that it was more fun than any others that came out at this time, and I wouldn't go back and replay it, but overall, I did enjoy it. Up next is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, released by From Software in 2019. And yet again, one I haven't had a chance to play yet. Just too many games to count and so little time to play them. But this is another one I'm looking very excited to dive into and just experience because I've heard amazing things about it. And from what I can see graphics-wise, I mean, the game is just fantastic. Here we have Shadow of Mordor, released by Monolith Productions in 2014, and this is a great game. It's very RPG-esque in terms of skills and stuff that you can unlock and places you can go and discover, but it also has a very just dive in and battle mentality to it, and I really enjoyed playing through this game. Here we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, released by Eidos Montreal in 2018, and I did a full game review on this and did a playthrough on my Twitch channel, but honestly, I did not care for this one. I thought Rise was way better. This one graphically, of course, is absolutely impressive, but the story just really didn't grab me, and I thought it was kind of a poor ending to this trilogy. Up next is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, released by Respawn Entertainment in 2019, and this game was amazing. I loved this game. If you want to just play through the story, sweet, play through the story. If you want to go on a collectathon and go completionist style, definitely do it. It has it. This game was excellent, and it has been such a long time since there has been a really good story-based Star Wars game, and this one totally satisfied that. Up next is Sunset Overdrive, released by Insomniac Games in 2014, and I never really got into this game. I gave it the old college try. I tried and put a few hours into it, and I wasn't feeling it. It's very like parkour, acrobatic-esque, and just over the top with its enemies and weapons and stuff, but I just never really cared for this game. Up next is Titanfall, released by Respawn Entertainment in 2014, and this game was good. I didn't know going in that it was going to be online multiplayer only and that there wasn't really any kind of a story or anything, because the quote-unquote story is you play through one faction playing online a bunch, and then you play through the other faction playing online a bunch, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it was fun, but I like story games. Enter Titanfall 2, released by Respawn Entertainment in 2016, and this is everything I liked about the first Titanfall, made it all better, and they actually added a story to this one. I love story games. I don't really care for just playing online multiplayer. I want to be immersed in a game, and this really helped me do that. So, props to you, Respawn. I enjoyed Titanfall 2. Here is Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, released by Crystal Dynamics in 2014, and this is the game that kicked off the most recent trilogy for Tomb Raider, and it was a great game. I still prefer Rise of the Tomb Raider, the second one in the trilogy, but this one was also excellent. I think it's just in this one, Lara Croft, she's so naive. She isn't developed into the Tomb Raider yet or anything like that, and yeah. Up next, we have Trials Fusion, released by Red Lynx in 2014, and if you've got time to kill, this is a great game to kill it on. You go through and you can do like flips and crazy jumps, and it has over-the-top physics and stuff like that, and it is also very punishing at times. So if you want a game where it's just like, okay, I think I can do better, I just need one more try, this is definitely one of those one more try kind of games. Up next is Watch Dogs, released by Ubisoft Montreal in 2014, and I heard Watch Dogs 2 was better, but I don't know, I couldn't really get into this game. It felt just like every other kind of game that was out at the time, except with hacking, and I mean, it was okay. Not really my cup of tea. I didn't really care for it. Here we have The Wolf Among Us, released by Telltale Games in 2014, and this game was awesome. If you've ever played one of the games from this company, you know that they are like interactive graphic novels, kind of, and this game was just great. It was a nice original story. I loved the cel-shaded look of everything, and it was just super fun to play through. Up next is Wolfenstein The New Order, released by Machine Games in 2014, and this is a great game. Graphically, even though it's 6 years old at the time of this video, the game still looks fantastic. It's got a great story to it, and really it kicked off a whole new era of Wolfenstein games. And last up for this video series is Wolfenstein The Old Blood, released by Machine Games in 2015, and this one wasn't really like a mainline franchise entry. It was kind of just a side story, but still a super fun game, very short, so don't expect, a full 20-hour plus game out of this. It definitely will not deliver that, but it does deliver a fun experience, and in the end, that's what it's all about. And there you have it, everyone. That was everything that was in my 4-part series covering my Microsoft Xbox One collection. Now, if you liked today's video, please let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, please be sure to also hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so that you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. Now, as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.